Everybody needs a coach in life. Coaching businesses and entrepreneurs like you to spike an additional 40% to your bottom line. Michael Burt is a multi-championship coach, best-selling author, trainer, motivator, and all-around super coach. Now, from the Greatness Factory Studios, this is Super Coach.
Coach Burt here with you guys. I hope you're doing great. Every single week I come to you with a new message that I think people need to hear. And I do 2 or 3 segments in a podcast I have called Super Coach. And Super Coach is set up for me to be your coach on a weekly basis through a podcast. You can get this on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Podcast Republic. Also, we're adding new podcasts under the show Super Coach. So when you go to Super Coach in the future, you're going to see $1 Million Coach, you're going to see Monster Producer, you're going to see all these podcasts, and we're going to put them under the umbrella. And on my new website, Katrina on my team is working on a new page where you can go. So, hope you're here, hope you're excited about today. I'm excited because I got an incredible topic that I want to be covering with you today, which is attitude indicators. Attitude indicators. Now, let me tell you where this started. On Saturday morning, I go to breakfast, Roy Frazier, with a guy named Tommy Davidson, who's my real estate agent and also one of my best friends. And he talks about indicators. There are certain indicators in life that indicate you are headed in the right direction or headed in the wrong direction. You may not even be aware of those indicators. Like, you may think, oh, I'm headed in the right direction. I can't tell you how many people that I meet that have a bad attitude. And their indicators are telling me this is headed in a bad direction. I was speaking for a big real estate company once, and I went all over the country for the real estate company. The average age of the agent was 67 years old, Brian Covey. And I went into these pockets all over the United States where they had a lazy and complacent attitude. And I knew they were headed in the wrong direction. And I would go back to the corporate headquarters and I would say, look, man, I was in this part of the country and I was in this part of the country and I was this, and man, you really got a problem. And they didn't want to listen to me. They kept saying, oh, no, we're the #1 real estate company in the world. We're the best. We don't have a problem. And I'm like, yeah, your average real estate agent, 67 years old. You got a problem. I don't care if you've been #1. You can go from #1 to dead last quickly. So today I'm going to talk about in a couple segments this concept of attitude indicators and what indicates when you're having a good attitude, what indicates when you're having a bad attitude, and more than anything, when your attitude is headed in the wrong direction. Right? When your attitude is headed in the wrong direction. Now, I sat down with Ella Grace, my 7-year-old daughter, who's a firstborn. I guarantee if we did a disc profile, hi D. I got some S and C in her though, from my wife. So she wants things to be perfect, but she's got this dominant personality. She's got this social feature. She's like, I'd be very interested to see her disc profile. And I sit down with her on Saturday, and I'm like, sweetheart, we're going to start our days off by talking about attitude. And I had her write out on a piece of paper. If you saw on my Facebook, I had her write out on a piece of paper a definition of attitude. Attitude is a posture of the body which represents what you are thinking mentally. Right? Like, I can have a pissed off attitude. I can have a friendly attitude. I can have a closed off attitude. I can have an open and inviting attitude. I can have a friendly attitude. I can have a fun attitude. I can have a superior attitude. Attitude is a posture of the body. That's why I love the saying, what you are, shout so loudly I can't even hear what you got to say. Right? Attitude is a posture of the body. I guarantee when a person walks in Roy Frazier's office or Brian Covey's got a team of people, you can dissect their attitude. So I want you to think of it like this. So I had Ella Grace write down this definition of attitude. Attitude is a posture of the body. Okay, you don't know. Listen, people that have bad attitudes have hard lives. I can't tell you, when you have a bad attitude, man, it makes such a hard life for you. And so I had to write down attitude in this definition, posture of the body, which represents something you're thinking about mentally. Some people are very bad at hiding bad attitudes. Some people are good at hiding bad attitudes. If If you study human nature, they put a mask on, they pretend to be something they're not, they send their representative. So on an airplane or on a jet, up in the cockpit, it has an attitude indicator. And the attitude indicator tells you whether the plane is ascending, meaning it's climbing. It is plateaued, which means it's in a static position, or when you hear we're at 30,000 feet or 28,000 feet, or it is descending, which means it's coming down to land. Well, your attitude in life is one of three states. It is dynamic, which means it's on fire, curious, interested. Listen, if you just have some good energy, good dynamic energy, you're going to drive your person of interest score. Your energy and attitude is directly tied to your person of interest score, right? Your attitude's either ascending, it's plateaued, or it's descending. I can't tell you how many people I coach, guys, around the world that have a plateaued or descending attitude. I was speaking at a conference of top producers. I won't name the company because you would be familiar with them. And a guy just sat there and looked at me like this the whole time. He said, Coach, I'm 70-something years old. Why would I do all this stuff that you're teaching? Right? He had a bad attitude. And I said, are you alive or are you dead? Is there a reason that you came to this conference on how to get better? Right? The church at Sardis in the book of Revelation had a reputation of being alive, but it was dead. I can't tell you how many people I see that are alive, but they're dead. They got a static or plateaued attitude. So are you dynamic? Are you static? Or are you entropic? If you can't figure out why you're not getting customers, why people are not calling you, why people are not coming in the door, why people don't want to be associated with you, why you're not growing your business, it could be because you got a bad attitude. You think you're getting the short end of the stick. You think you got bad luck. It's because you got a bad attitude. Bad attitude toward people of influence, bad attitude toward your teammates, bad attitude toward your boss, I don't know, bad attitude toward your parents. So Ella Grace sat down and she wrote out 10 things to have a good attitude. And this morning I said, hey, remember the 10 things? Have a good attitude. 10 things. Attitudes posture the body. Okay? Now, if you're trying to get a person to change, you got to understand that change is a function of two things, pain or potential. Person in life doesn't change unless they get sick and tired of being sick and tired of something. Okay? Or they can see their potential. When I made a decision to go pro in my health, we started that Monster Health Division. November, I'm in Mexico with Terry Thayer at the TAB retreat, the absolute best retreat. I'm speaking. I'm out around the pool. Man, I just didn't feel good about myself. I was lifting weights, but I didn't like my weight. Okay, and my attitude said, boom, I'm changing today. I am going to do something about this today. So what's the cost of change? Change is a function of pain. It's a function of potential, and it's a function of practicality. That there is a cost. There is a cost to change. And the cost to change is for some people greater than the pain or greater than the potential. Potential being kinetic energy that's stored until utilized. So when a person's got a bad attitude, until the bad attitude costs them something, a relationship, a lot of money, a job, a person they value, until their bad attitude costs them something big in life, they don't change. They just have a static or descending attitude, right? See, many times people going about life, they have a bad attitude, they still get by, they still make some money, they still do a few things, and they won't change. If you're a leader on here, I see Brian Covey on here, he's probably over a couple hundred people. If you're a leader on here, here's the deal. You're trying to get people to change their attitude. They're not going to change their attitude till there's enough pain or enough potential. Just that simple. Okay? So here would be my question to you. I'm going to give you some concepts on attitude, and I want you to think about what is your attitude toward these things. Number one, this morning I was meeting with my team because in Monster Producer this month, we're breaking down this concept of teams. How do you build world-class teams? How do you build world-class teams? How do you get on the same page with your team? And I was talking about where conflict comes from on teams. And many times it comes from team members that don't understand or appreciate or care about the language of the leader. And I was explaining my love language in business, which is speed, which is how do you address uncertainty? How do you have courage? See, courage is an indicator of attitude. Confidence is an indicator of attitude. Engagement is an indicator of attitude. Personal growth is an indicator of attitude. What are you saying? What's the attitude? What's the position? I want to remain dynamic. I don't want to remain static. I want to remain dynamic. I want to grow. I want to expand. I want to build something, right? So what's your attitude right now on speed? Now this is interesting because I was telling my team this morning that one of my languages is speed. And I don't believe in perfection. Although when we lose a client, I take it personal. Okay? Now this is interesting because there's a little bit of a paradox there. Like you don't believe in perfection. I think perfection costs us a lot of things. People don't get started because they're perfectionists. Perfectionism breeds procrastination. So I don't believe in perfection, although I believe in striving for perfection. Right? But at the same time, I take it personal when a person quits because there's too much friction. Friction is we've done something to make it hard on the consumer. So see the paradox there? I'm a complicated person, guys. Right? My little mind is complicated. I don't believe in perfection. I believe in striving for perfection, but I don't believe you can always reach it. I take it personal when people quit, but the reason people quit is because there's too much friction. But there's too much friction because we don't do it perfect. Now, the reason I'm telling you this is because I have certain attitudes towards things. Number one, I believe in return on objective versus just return on investment. I believe return on energy is critical to the equation, right? So I would love to see in the comments right here, since we're live with each other, what is your attitude towards speed? I believe it's not the fast that eat, the big that eat the small today. It's the fast that eat the slow. What's your attitude on uncertainty? I believe fear is an unpleasant emotion created by a belief that something's going to harm us in the future, right? What's your attitude on courage? I believe courage is to give courage. Encourage means to give. Discourage means to take away. I believe you need courage to do something big in the world. You don't need money. You need courage. I believe confidence is the memory of success. I believe in engagement versus service. I believe return on energy, return on objective, not just return on investment, right? And I believe people should be engaging with people at a high level. I'd love for you to comment in the post there on what your personal concept is. What's your attitude toward these things? Now, let me give you some attitude indicators. Number one, when you have an incredible, infectious, confident attitude, your person of interest score is going to go up. Okay, you see that book over there? Let's see. Where's it at? Where's that? Over there. There it is. Person of interest. Person of interest is when you become so valuable to the market that your phone is ringing, your schedule is booked, people are coming to you. So let me tell you what a good attitude indicator is. You got all kinds of people coming to you. You got people that want a piece of your time, people that want a piece of your energy, people want a piece of your knowledge, people want a piece of your desire, a piece of your connectivity, a piece of your network. This is an attitude indicator that things are going well for you, right? Like people are coming to you. You're not chasing people. Other people are chasing you. This is an indicator that you are becoming a person of interest. It's a good thing, man. Attitude indicator is ascending. It's dynamic. So what are other attitude indicators that help you grow? Number two, strategic partnership. When you're recruiting team members, Michael, pardon, don't just recruit people to work directly on your team. Everywhere you go, you need to be recruiting people to your cause. Everywhere you go, you need to be recruiting people toward you. Everywhere you go, you need to be trying to get people on the bus. Everywhere you go, you need to be saying, come along with me. We're going here. Everywhere you go, you got to be a great recruiter. Okay? And so when I'm looking out there, Michelle Froge, people expect speed. We live in a fast food world. That's right. We live in a fast food world. People expect it to be done and be done fast. Mike Brooks said any obstacle can be moved or worked through by taking a moment to reflect. Any situation. Attitude indicator. Mike Brooks is saying, hey, man, it don't matter what the obstacle is. It can be worked through. It can be worked around. Where there's a will, there's a way. It's what my granddad used to teach me. You got to want to, you can find a how to, right? So attitude indicators are my person of interest score is growing, right? My person of interest score is growing. I'm building strategic partnerships with some of the most successful people on the planet. Right now I'm doing stuff with Tim Story, Sharon Lecter, all kinds of successful people I'm doing events with. Matt Monero, Judge Graham, Brad Lee's coming into town this weekend for me to spend some time with him. like strategic partnership. You also need optics for growth, which means you need to be codifying what you're doing to be successful. You need the books. You need the podcast. You need the partnership. You need to show people you're moving about the planet. You need the videos. Right? You need optics. And optics show the world that you are doing. You're a person of interest. You're a monster producer. You're packaging and delivering your content in a way that gets people to move. You're recruiting and attracting. You're coaching and developing. You're retaining and optimizing. Okay? Here's another attitude indicator. Your bank account is growing. Jack, would you agree? That's an indicator. People that have good attitudes make more money. Your bank account is reflecting your attitude account, right? I've got people that I've coached that have struggled financially, and here's what I would tell you. Called on one last week. It's the most comical sales call I've ever made, Michelle Froge. This guy had the worst attitude toward learning and growth of anybody. And I'm sitting there thinking, man, I bet your bank account reflects your attitude account. Because you're never going to grow. You're never going to be the best at what you do. You're never going to expand. You're never going to, right? One attitude indicator is your bank account's growing. You're building enough excess cash from your business. You know why? People are coming to you. Why? Because you got dynamic energy, right? Your fund meter's on high. Okay? Here's another attitude indicator. You're spending a lot of time learning about yourself. Like I've gone through the DISC profile, became certified in the DISC, and going through that, man, has helped me to better understand myself. So I got a better attitude toward people because I know I can be stubborn. I know I can be difficult. I know, right, because I'm learning. I'm knowing thyself. I'm knowing myself. So my attitude is better. Attitude indicators. Now, if you came to me and said, Coach, can you tell me what my attitude is? And is it in proportion to the opportunities that I'm getting? I would go right to these things. Number one, how much incoming demand are you getting? How many people are calling you? How many emails? How many Facebook requests? How many Instagram? How much is what you're doing resonating with the world? Number two, are you forming strategic partnerships? Number three, are you circulating the optics to let people know you're a person of advancement? You leave people, as Wallace Waddle said, with the impression of increase, right? Is your bank account growing? And if it's not, your attitude indicator ain't right. Number four, okay, is your fund meter on high? I mean, when I'm with you. And number five, do you know yourself? And step three of this, signs of a bad attitude. Okay, signs of a bad attitude. And we see it every day, guys. When my daughter was sitting down with me and I said, let's write out things that are bad attitudes. Rolling your eyes, huffing and puffing, slamming doors. These are indicators of a bad attitude. What about, let's go back to what the definition of attitude is. Posture of the body, which represents what you're thinking in your mind. How many of you have ever walked in the office one day with a bad attitude? You wouldn't make eye contact with the leader. Your demeanor is screaming, is pushing off to the market. Don't mess with me today. Don't talk to me today. Don't have anything. What about the posture of your seat? You're sitting there. What about the posture of your energy? Right? You don't understand. Bad attitudes make for hard lives, guys. I'm telling you. People with bad attitudes have hard lives. So, what are signs of a bad attitude? Number one, you're prideful. You are closed-minded, okay? You're closed. When somebody brings you an idea, nope, won't work, can't do it. I've listened for so many years of my life to people tell me some of my ideas wouldn't work. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm open to anything, closed off to nothing. And if I fail, it's on me, man. It's on me and my own decision-making, right? I'm not going to listen to other people tell me that I can't do something. And I'm going to be open to other people's ideas and suggestions. Pride is a sign of a bad indicator. Stagnant is a sign of a bad indicator, meaning you're stuck, bored, complacent, in a rut, you're not growing. Number three, cynical. The world can make you very cynical. So everything's cynical. There's little digs, right? It's like everything is a cynical remark to other people. Number four, you're closed off. Sign of a bad attitude. Number five, you're negative about everything. You're negative about everything. Some people I have found in my life from coaching so many people are just so negative, Jack, they don't even know it. They don't even recognize that they're negative. They wake up negative. Their demeanor's negative. The body posture's negative. As soon as you give them an idea, they tell you why it won't work. They're negative, man. It's an indicator of a bad attitude. Here's what happens. People, you don't understand this, but this is the psychology behind this. If every time I bring you an idea, you're negative toward the idea, I quit bringing you ideas. What I do is I just cut you out of the opportunity. The worst thing you can lose from a person of interest is their influence. And that's what you lose when you have a bad attitude, okay? Here's another one. Stuck, complacent, bored, in a rut. The word complacent means gradual settling to a place of mediocrity, indicator of a bad attitude. What about this one? Unhappy. It's hard to hide when you're unhappy, guys. I try to be a happy person all the time, but it's real hard to hide when you're not happy. Your body language, the posture of your body says to people that you're unhappy. And number 8, sign of a bad attitude, you never catch a good break. You've heard the saying, the harder I work, the luckier I get. Well, I would tell you the better attitude I have, the more opportunity comes my way. People want to associate with people who have these great attitudes. And there's indicators, guys. Just like in that airplane, you're ascending, plateaued, or you're descending. You're dynamic, you're static, or you're entropic. So I want to encourage you, okay? What is your attitude toward speed, toward uncertainty, toward fear, toward courage, toward confidence, toward engagement, toward personal growth, toward learning, toward mentoring? What's your attitude, right? What is your attitude saying about you? Okay? Now, there's 3 things I want to challenge you on today. I know what you're thinking. Oh, Coach Bert's got a good attitude, right? But I could never have a good attitude like old Coach Bert. Or you may be saying, man, he don't know what I'm going through. Or his life is much better than my life. You may be thinking those things to yourself. Or he doesn't ever wake up with a bad attitude, and you'd be wrong about all those things. Sometimes I wake up with a bad attitude. Sometimes I go home with a bad attitude. Sometimes I get worked up and mad about something because it's my personality style. Sometimes I fixate on something for so long I can't see straight, almost get obsessive about it. I know, because I've had bad attitudes, guys, and it never helped me. Anytime I've had a bad attitude in my life toward anything and anybody, it put me in a bad position. It is a posture of the body. So I want to challenge you. I want to challenge you to level up. Number 1, I want to challenge you to get in my coaching program. This month I'm talking about teams, how to build teams. You know why it's hard to build teams? Because some people have selfish attitudes. Some people are not open to other people's ideas. Some people focus solely on themselves. Some people sabotage the team. Some people bring will and compliance. Some people bring incredible commitment. So I want to challenge you, if you're out there watching this show today, man, it's time to level up. It's time to get serious about your life. It's time to play at a higher frequency. It's time to have a good attitude toward learning, because what you learn could help you expand. And notice I said an attitude indicator. Your bank account is an attitude indicator. If it's high, you're doing something right. If it's low, you're doing something wrong. It's time to confront the brutal facts here, as Jim Collins used to say in that book, Good to Great. So this month in Monster Producer, I'm teaching how to build great teams. And one of the things that's hard to build a great team is because people got lousy attitudes. They don't want to show up. They don't want to work hard. They don't want to stay late. They don't want to put in extra effort. They got bad attitudes. So this month I'm going to teach you how to build world-class teams. Also, my boot camps. Come and spend 2.5 days with me and let some of this contagious confidence rub off on you, man. Let me break down the system and show that. I got one coming up June 18, 19. And then if you're 18 to 35 or you have a high potential person, I got a boot camp coming up called Flip the Switch around my book on Pray Drive. 3 days with me at the Lodge, July 17th through the 19th. And I'm going to use every tactic and tool in my tool shed. I got a lot of tools, guys, to activate the Pray Drive in you. If you're interested in any of these things, just reach out to Eric at CoachBert.com. He's on here. This is something, that was only $500. Listen, let me say this. If you got an attitude where you won't spend $500 on yourself, let me tell you something. You got a bad attitude. We don't need to talk about making $500,000 or even $5 million if you're scared to spend $500. That's an attitude problem. You are investing in you. Okay, you need to think how this is a small investment for a big return. It's an attitude. For years, I held on to money. Okay, I'm more free with money today. I spend more money on myself. I spend more money on my team and in my company, and it's an indicator that I'm growing up, that I'm becoming mature, that I'm seeing money the right way as a tool to earn more money, or a tool to help people, or a tool to expand. Whereas used to, I would make money and just hold on to it. I had a bad attitude toward money. I had a scared attitude. Scared money don't make no money. Okay? Your attitude is reflected in your actions. And guys, if you're out there watching this today, I promise you, first step to doing anything big in the world, and I've won most of my life just having on a good, positive, upbeat, friendly attitude. Okay? That's how I've won most of my life. It ain't because I'm the smartest person in the world. It's because I have a good attitude. I wake up every day and I go get it. And I try to instill that attitude in all of my team members. Every week I come into your life. You can download this Stitcher, iTunes, YouTube, Podcast Republic. Super Coach is the podcast. And I want to multiply your life. I want to multiply your money. And I want to multiply your business. Hope you have a great day. Everybody needs a good coach in life. Thank you, guys. This month in Monster Producer, I'm coaching people in how to get on the same page with their team. And one of the constant themes I hear over and over from every team I coach is, how do we get these people on board? How do we wake them up from a complacency? How do we get them to operate at the highest frequency?
What's up, Doc?
I've been teaching the concept of a thunderbolt, a strategy I learned from the great Pat Riley, which is a sudden, unexpected jolt of energy. The thunderbolt can be positive, it can be negative, but it is always a curveball to make the team think, to make the team perform, to make the team come back to life when they've laid down. Get in Monster Producer, and let me teach you the strategies I use to build world-class, championship-winning teams.